Hey, and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into this really powerful problem-solving secret that, believe it or not, comes from the factory floor of Toyota. Yeah, a car company. It's a method so simple, so clear that it can take your most complicated challenge and just shrink it down onto a single sheet of paper. I mean, just think about that. You've got that professional project, or maybe a health goal, or some ambition that's just been bugging you for years, right? What if the secret wasn't about grinding harder, but about thinking clearer? Let's dig into how that actually works. All right, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to unpack what this whole A3 thinking thing is all about, this problem on one page idea. Then, we'll get into the nitty-gritty, the 6-step framework. And the best part? We'll see how it all comes together in a super personal story before we hand the reins over to you. So, what is this thing really? Well, it all starts with this incredibly powerful but simple idea. Get your entire problem from start to finish and the solution all onto one single page. Right, so A3 thinking, it literally gets its name from a piece of paper, an A3 sheet, which is about 11 by 17 inches. Toyota developed this, and not just as some report to file away. No, it was a way to get everyone on the same page, to really cultivate this deep, shared understanding of a problem. The idea was that anyone, whether you're the CEO or the person on the assembly line, could look at this one document and just get it. And honestly, that's where the genius is. Think about it. We live in a world of a million slide PowerPoints and these confusing, endless email threats. The A3 just cuts through all that noise. It forces you to be clear, to be concise. There's really nowhere to hide. You have to boil your thinking down to the absolute essentials, which means everybody involved can grasp the whole situation, boom, just at a glance. Okay, but this kind of clarity, it doesn't just happen by accident. It comes from a really rigorous, structured process. So let's look at the engine that actually drives this A3 thinking. So you've got these 6 steps, and this is like the standard work for solving any problem with this method. And the order here is absolutely critical. You can't skip ahead. It's designed to stop you from jumping to a solution before you even really understand the problem. So you start by defining the problem, figuring out why it matters. Then you look at what's really happening right now. You set a clear goal, and only then do you start digging for the true root causes, not just the stuff you see on the surface. From there, you figure out your countermeasures and finally a plan to make it all happen, and more importantly, to make it stick. Now, I know what you might be thinking. This all sounds very corporate, right? Very factory floor. And yeah, you're not wrong. That is where it came from. But the real magic of this tool is just how adaptable it is. I mean, seriously, how could a tool made for building cars better actually help you with a goal like, getting healthier, or learning a new skill, or even fixing a strained relationship? Well, let's meet someone who did exactly that. This is Elton Ross. And at 56, he was facing a problem that felt so personal, and he just felt completely stuck. His doctor was on his case, he was frustrated with himself, but he just couldn't make a lasting change. His story is a perfect case study for A3 thinking in the real world. So Elton took this massive personal health challenge and decided to treat it just like a process problem. He actually created his own A3. Let's walk through exactly how he built it, step by step. Okay, so he started right at the beginning. Step 1, defining the problem. Not just what it was, but more importantly, why it was so critical for him personally to solve. He just laid out the cold, hard facts. He's 56 years old. He's overweight. He's pre-diabetic. And he's genuinely worried about his future health. See, this wasn't about looking better. This was about his well-being. And nailing down that powerful why is always the most important first step. All right, next step, step 2. Because if you want to know where you're going, you have to know exactly where you are right now. So Elton got brutally honest about his current condition. And his baseline? It started with a single stark number, 300 pounds. That was his quantitative starting point. No hiding from it. But numbers never tell the whole story, do they? He also captured the feeling of the problem, his clothes not fitting, that low self-confidence, having trouble playing sports, even developing sleep apnea, and of course, the constant nagging from his family. This was the real human cost of his situation. And finally, he pulled in the hard data, the clinical stuff. I mean, look at his blood test results here. You can see the story the numbers were telling his doctor. His cholesterol, triglycerides, his fasting glucose, they were all way into the danger zone. So now the problem was defined, it was measured, and it was felt. So, with such a crystal clear picture of the present, he could finally define a better future. This is step 3. What does success actually look like? What's the target? And Elton built a vision for himself that was both measurable and really meaningful. A super specific goal: lose 60 pounds in 30 weeks. But he also included the stuff that really mattered to him. Buying a whole new wardrobe, having the stamina to play sports again, getting his blood sugar down, maybe reducing his meds, and just feeling proud of himself. That's a powerful motivator. Okay, so he knew the problem and he knew the goal. The big question was, how do you get from A to B? This brings us to the real heart of the A3, figuring out the actual root causes and then designing specific actions to tackle them. He realized his problem wasn't just eating too much. No, the real root causes were deeper. Things like mindless eating just out of habit, a total lack of motivation, and frankly, a poor understanding of nutrition. So his countermeasures had to attack those specific roots. He didn't just tell himself to eat better, he joined a structured program with a coach, and that's so important, that collaboration and accountability. He set up a system of weekly check-ins, daily weigh-ins, and he made specific swaps, replacing the unhealthy snacks, super actionable stuff. So Elton followed his plan, and he did it. He reached his goal. But as anyone who's ever tried to make a big life change knows, reaching the goal is only half the battle, right? The final step of the A3 is maybe the most important of all. How do you make that success last? So to make sure his progress would actually stick, he didn't just cross his fingers and hope for the best. He created this simple little control chart for his life. You've got a green zone for when things are good and he just needs to maintain his new habits, a yellow zone for when he slips a bit and needs some minor corrections, and a red zone that would trigger major actions to get right back on track. He had a clear, proactive plan for managing his own future. So by treating his own personal health just like a process, Elton Rawls completely transformed his life. He used this one simple, one-page document to bring clarity and structure to a problem that had frustrated him for 15 years. It's just such a powerful reminder that our biggest, most stubborn challenges, sometimes they're just waiting for a better way of thinking. So that leaves just one question for you. What problem are you going to put on your A3?